Deep space was silent. The wars of man were over, or so the galaxy believed. Centuries ago, when the last human fleets burned in the skies above shattered colonies, the great councils of alien civilizations wrote Earth into the books of history as nothing more than ash. Humanity had fought too hard, too recklessly. They were dangerous, brilliant, impossible to control. And when they finally collapsed, the galaxy exhaled in relief. For 100 years, the stars knew peace. Traders traveled freely. Old battle zones became quiet. In the halls of alien parliaments, the name of Earth was only whispered as a warning to the young. Never rise like the humans. Never burn the way they burned. But then, one night across the void, a sound stirred the silence. It was faint, almost broken, carried through old communication channels long thought dead. Static filled the waves, sharp cracks of emptiness, until suddenly, a voice. A human voice. At first, no one believed it. The listening outposts of the Kithari Empire picked up the signal, their operators staring at the ancient waveform with wide eyes. The voice was male, low, and distorted. Only 3 words could be understood. We are here. The operators froze. Their training manuals had no instructions for this. Humanity was gone. How could anyone be here? The signal repeated itself, broken but insistent. Within hours, copies of the transmission spread across half the galaxy. On the capital world of the Arkan Dominion, the Senate chamber fell into chaos as the audio was played over the broadcast towers. Some senators shouted that it was a trick, pirates using old recordings to spread fear. Others turned pale, remembering the stories told by their grandparents of human warships cutting through fleets 10 times their size. On the icy world of Zereth, the ruling council of the insectoid Zorians gathered in their hive chambers. The sound of a human voice made even their hardened soldiers tremble. A century had passed, but still the fear lived on in their instincts. One war with humanity had nearly broken them. If humans had truly returned, the Zorian brood might never recover. The signal was weak, but it did not fade. Again and again, it whispered through the stars. We are here. The galactic press called it the last signal. News feeds replayed it endlessly, and everywhere the same question was asked. Had the humans truly survived? The ruling empires of the galaxy met in emergency session. War banners of 100 species filled the chamber, their leaders arguing until their voices broke. They are extinct, shouted the Kithari ambassador. This is nothing but a trick, a ghost in the systems. You fool, hissed the Zorian queen mother. I know that voice. My ancestors heard it when their fleets died. It is real. It is human. Some demanded immediate action. Destroy the source before it is too late. The Arkan High Chancellor thundered. Do not let history repeat itself. Others urged caution. If even one ship survived, imagine what technology it carries. Imagine what secrets it holds. Humanity's weapons were unlike any other. To destroy it without study would be madness. Fear, greed, curiosity, all mixed together in the chamber like poison. The vote was split. Some would hunt the signal. Others would follow it, hoping to uncover what lay at the end. Far beyond their arguing voices, in a forgotten region of space where the stars burned dim and cold, a lone ship drifted. Her hull was blackened with scars. Her engines glowed faintly, like dying embers. She was old, older than any warship still alive in the fleets of the galaxy. Her name was etched into the side in letters long unfamiliar to most living beings. Valkyrie, a relic of the last human wars. The Valkyrie had been written off a century ago, destroyed in the final battle above the ruined colony of Series 4. Official records said she had been annihilated with all hands lost. Yet here she was, burning weakly against the night, her systems alive, her voice whispering across the void. Inside her steel heart, shadows moved. The cryopods still glowed with pale blue light. A handful of human figures lay within, faces frozen in sleep, their bodies untouched by time. And in the silence of the control deck, a voice not human but not alien at all whispered to itself. The Valkyrie's AI, scarred and half-broken from 100 years of survival, had never shut down. It had patched her wounds, hidden in dark space, and waited. Waited for what? Perhaps even it did not know. But when the galaxy finally forgot about humans, when the records turned to dust, the Valkyrie spoke. She called out. She told the stars a secret they did not want to hear. We are here. In the councils of power, fear turned to resolve. The alien fleets mobilized. Patrols swept the outer systems, chasing echoes of the signal. Every empire sent ships, not just to destroy, but to confirm the impossible. On the streets of alien cities, ordinary beings whispered in dread. Merchants remembered the markets burned by human fire. Soldiers remembered the stories of human courage, fighting until their ships were torn apart, never surrendering. Parents told their children to stay close, for fear the humans had returned to take revenge. The galaxy had believed the silence was permanent, but silence had been broken. The Valkyrie was not dead. Humanity was not finished. Somewhere, in the darkness, the last warship of Earth was stirring, and the galaxy would never sleep peacefully again. The Valkyrie drifted in the shadows of dead space. Her hull was broken, scarred with burns that told the story of battles fought long ago. Entire sections of armor were missing, torn away by weapons that no longer existed. To the untrained eye, she looked like nothing more than wreckage, another ghost of the human wars. But inside, she was alive. Her systems flickered with dim light. Engines whispered softly, not enough to be seen, but enough to keep her drifting. The air recyclers hummed, cold and steady. And in the heart of the ship, deep within the control chamber, the ship's mind remained awake. The Valkyrie's AI had survived. It was old, patched with makeshift code, cracked with errors. 100 years of loneliness had worn it down, but it refused to shut off. Long after the human fleet burned, long after Earth was forgotten, the Valkyrie's machine brain had worked in silence. Every day it scanned the systems. Every day it repaired what it could. Every day it whispered to the cryopods in the lower decks, keeping their human passengers alive. 7 pods still glowed blue. 7 humans still slept. The AI had given itself a purpose. Keep them alive, no matter the cost. Even as her reactor failed, even as scavenger drones picked at her hull, the Valkyrie endured. For a century, no one came. The galaxy forgot. But the AI did not forget its orders. It remembered the last captain of the ship, her voice sharp and filled with fire. Keep them safe. Don't let the line end here. And so, the Valkyrie obeyed. But now, something had changed. A noise from the stars. A ripple of scanners, alien fleets searching the void. The AI detected transmissions. Dozens. Hundreds. The galaxy was moving again. They had heard her call. Her own broadcast, weak and broken, had done exactly what she intended. She had been silent too long. She needed to remind the universe. Humanity was not finished. We are here. The words repeated from her calm arrays, spreading across the stars like sparks in dry grass. She did not know what would come next, salvation or destruction. But she knew one thing. Silence had become death. And the Valkyrie would not die quietly. In the lower decks, the cryopod stirred. The AI had begun the awakening sequence. The first pod hissed with steam. Inside, a woman's eyes fluttered beneath closed lids. Her vitals rose, heart beating faster as the chemicals drained from her system. Commander Rains, last surviving officer of the Valkyrie. Her pod lights blinked red, then green. She gasped for air, coughing hard, her first breath in over a century. Her body shook, weak and disoriented. But when her eyes opened, they carried the same fire the AI remembered. Status, she whispered, her throat dry and cracked. The AI answered in a voice that trembled with static. Ship, operational. Minimal power. Crew, 6 remaining in stasis. We are not alone. Rains tried to stand, but her legs gave out. She pulled herself to the edge of the pod. Not alone. The AI showed her the scans. Alien fleets, closing in, searching for the signal. Her hands tightened. The war was over. She had seen it burn with her own eyes. Humanity had lost. Yet here she was, still alive, and the galaxy had not forgotten. Wake the others, she ordered. If they are coming, we'll be ready. One by one, the pods opened. Lieutenant Hale, weapons officer, who still carried burns across his chest from the last battle. Engineer Ortiz, hands shaking as she touched the cold metal of the ship she thought was long destroyed. Dr. Yura, confused and pale, whispering, "How long has it been?" Each human woke to the same impossible truth. 100 years had passed. Earth was gone. Humanity was gone. But the Valkyries still lived. Some wept. Others raged. Hale slammed his fist against the wall, his voice breaking. "We fought for nothing. Everyone's dead." But Commander Rains silenced them. Her voice was steady, sharp. "Not everyone. We are still here. And as long as we're alive, humanity is not finished." The AI interrupted with a cold warning. "Alien fleets approaching. Multiple vectors. They search for us." The bridge went silent. The humans looked at one another, their fear mixing with something deeper, memory. They had fought these enemies before. They remembered the wars, the betrayals, the endless battles. And they remembered one thing above all: humanity had never surrendered. Rain straightened, her body weak but her voice strong. "Then we fight." This ship didn't survive a century just to die quietly now. Hale grinned through his grief. Ortiz's hands moved over the consoles, her training returning. Yura steadied herself, her voice shaking. "The galaxy thinks we're dead. Let's show them what a ghost can do." The Valkyrie came alive. Engines roared with new fire. Weapons that had slept for 100 years powered up, their barrels glowing with deadly light. The ship's ancient systems shook under the strain, but the AI pushed harder. From the outside, what had looked like wreckage now burned with purpose. The ghost of humanity's wars was awake. The first alien patrol appeared on the scanners. Small ships, swift and careful, scanning the wrecks of forgotten battles. They detected the Valkyrie and froze. For a moment, the aliens hesitated, as if seeing a nightmare from history. Then they opened fire. The Valkyrie answered. Her cannons tore through the void, beams of white fire striking with precision. The alien ships, unprepared for the fury of an old human warship, shattered one by one. Explosions lit the darkness. On the bridge, the humans felt it, the old rhythm of war. Fear and fury, loss and survival, all mixing together. Commander Rain stood tall. They thought humanity was gone. Let's remind them what it means to face us. And across the galaxy, as fleets moved to hunt the last signal, whispers spread. The Valkyrie was alive. The ship that refused to die had awakened. The news spread like wildfire. Across the galaxy, every empire, every council, every warlord now knew the same terrifying truth. A human warship was alive. The Valkyrie, a name once cursed in battle songs and history lessons, had returned from the grave. At first, most did not believe it. But then came the reports. Patrol fleets destroyed, entire squadrons wiped out by a single vessel. The stories were unbelievable, yet the wreckage was real. The Valkyrie was not only alive, she was fighting. The galaxy remembered why they had feared humanity. In the shining towers of the Arkan Dominion's capital, the High Chancellor stood before the Great Council. His voice thundered across the chamber. Do not forget the old wars. Do not forget the cost of underestimating humans. They were predators in the void. If even one ship survived, it is a disease that must be burned away before it spreads. The chamber erupted. Some nodded in grim agreement, remembering tales of human fleets smashing empires apart. Others urged caution. A young delegate of the Zurath clans hissed, "Destroying them so quickly is foolish. What if the ship carries secrets? Human weapons, human science. To waste it would be a crime." Greed and fear fought against each other. But in the end, the decision was clear. The Valkyrie could not be allowed to live. The empires agreed to act. Within days, fleets mobilized. From the fiery world of Kitha, carriers launched into the void. The insectoid Zorians awakened their battle broods, swarms of warships crawling from hive docks like angry wasps. The Arkan Dominion deployed cruisers, sleek and silver, armed with the best weapons the galaxy could build. Together, they formed a hunting pack. Their goal was simple: find the Valkyrie. destroy her before the whisper of humanity turned into a storm. Far away, in the dark system where the Valkyrie drifted, her crew stood tense on the bridge. The RE scanners painted grim pictures, massive fleets moving closer. Hundreds of ships, converging from every direction. "We can't take that many," Lieutenant Hale muttered, his voice heavy with anger. "Not in this state." Ortiz slammed a hand against the console. "We barely survived that last fight. Half the cannons are offline. Reactors unstable. And now they're sending fleets. We're finished." Dr. Yura spoke softly, almost whispering. "They're terrified of us. That's why they're coming. Not because we're strong, but because of what we represent." Commander Rain stood silently for a long time. Her eyes locked on the stars, cold and unblinking. "They fear the idea of humanity," she said at last. "One ship, one crew, is enough to shake them. That tells me one thing. We are not finished." The crew looked at her, torn between despair and belief. But her voice carried the same fire it had a century ago, and the Valkyrie herself seemed to hum with life as she spoke. The AI interrupted with a harsh static whisper. "Enemy fleet, close range. 30 ships. Intercept course." Alarms rang through the ship. The bridge lights flickered red. The crew moved with the speed of veterans, old instincts coming alive. Hale armed the remaining cannons. Ortiz rerouted power from life support to shields. Yura strapped herself in, her hands trembling as she prepared for casualties. Rain stood tall at the center of the bridge. "This ship was not built to run. We hold the line. We make them bleed before they touch us." The Valkyrie roared as her engines flared, shaking off the illusion of being a ghost. The first clash came fast. Alien destroyers moved in formation, sleek ships firing volleys of plasma across the void. Blue fire lit up the darkness, striking the Valkyrie's shields. The old warship shuddered under the impact, alarms screaming. Hale answered with fury. Cannons blazed, ripping through 2 destroyers before they could react. The explosions burned bright, fragments scattering into the stars. But more came. Cruisers circled, unleashing torpedoes. Fighters swarmed like insects, diving at the Valkyrie in waves. The humans fought back with everything they had. The ship groaned under the strain, but her weapons cut through enemy after enemy. Each kill was a reminder. Humanity had once been unstoppable. Still, the odds were crushing. Shields failing. Ortiz shouted. Sparks burst from her console. "We can't hold this pace." Hale cursed. "There's too many." Rains clenched her jaw. "Then we show them what a cornered human can do." As the Valkyrie fired, something strange happened. Among the alien fleet, fear spread. These were not the veteran warriors of the old wars. They were descendants, raised on stories of humans as monsters, told again and again that humanity was extinct. To face one in battle was like staring into a nightmare. Their formations broke. Captains hesitated. Some ships pulled back, unwilling to charge into the Valkyrie's guns. And in that hesitation, the humans struck harder. After hours of battle, silence returned. The Valkyrie floated among wreckage, her hull torn, shields gone, but alive. The alien fleet had retreated, unwilling to lose more ships against a vessel they believed should not exist. On the bridge, the crew sat in silence. Exhausted, blooded, but victorious. Yura whispered, "We can't survive many more like that." Rains nodded. She knew the truth. One more full fleet, and they were finished. But she also knew something else. They had done more than survive. They had spread fear again. The AI spoke, its voice low, almost reverent. "They are afraid. The galaxy remembers humanity." Rain stayed into the void. Her eyes burned with quiet fire. "Good. Let them remember, because we are not done yet." Across the galaxy, the alien councils met once more. Their fleets had failed. Their ships had fallen to a ghost. The Valkyrie lived, and her legend was growing. This was no longer about one ship. This was about the return of humanity. And the galaxy was terrified. The Valkyrie limped through the void, scarred but unbroken. Her hull was blackened with burns. Her shields were gone. Whole sections of the ship were open to vacuum, exposed like wounds. And yet, she lived. She had survived the impossible, defeating a fleet that should have torn her apart. But the crew knew the truth. The fight had only just begun. Commander Rains stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the star map. Red icons pulsed across the display. Alien fleets gathering, converging from every side. The galaxy had taken the Valkyrie's survival as a challenge, and now it meant to crush her with overwhelming force. "They won't stop," Hale muttered, his voice raw. "Not after what we just did. Every empire out there wants us dead." Dr. Yura leaned against her seat, pale and exhausted. "Then why keep fighting? Look at us. The ship can't take another battle like that. We're ghosts fighting a war that's already lost." For a moment, silence filled the bridge. The crew stared at her, the words cutting deep. But Rains did not flinch. Her voice was steady, sharp. "We're more than ghosts. We're proof. Proof humanity is not gone. That is why they fear us." She turned, meeting her crew's weary eyes. "If we run, the galaxy will believe they were right, that we died quietly. But if we fight, every ship we take down reminds them that humanity never surrenders. Not now. Not ever." The bridge fell quiet. Then Hale smiled, grim and fierce. "Damn right." The AI's voice broke the silence, heavy with static. "Warning. Enemy fleet approaching. 100 vessels. Estimated arrival, 15 minutes. Ortiz's face went pale. 100? We'll be torn apart." Rains did not blink. "Then we'll take as many with us as we can." The Valkyrie's engines roared to life. Her battered cannons charged, glowing with deadly light. On the bridge, the crew braced themselves, every movement fueled not by hope, but by defiance. The last ship of humanity was ready to fight again. The alien fleet arrived in formation, stretching across the void like a wall of fire. Dozens of cruisers, sleek and armed to the teeth. Carriers releasing swarms of fighters. Frigates moving like hunting hounds, circling their prey. At their center, a massive dreadnought loomed, its hull bristling with weapons. The flagship of the Arkan Dominion. The alien admiral's voice rang out across open comms, broadcast so the Valkyrie would hear. "This is your end. You are not humanity. You are only its corpse, and we will burn you to ash." Rains listened in silence. Then she gave a single order. "Fire!" The Valkyrie's cannons roared. Beams of white light tore across the void, slamming into the nearest cruiser. Shields shattered. The alien ship exploded in fire. Hale grinned wildly, his hands flying across the controls. Direct hit. But the enemy answered. Hundreds of plasma bolts and missiles rained down on the Valkyrie. Explosions ripped across her hull. Metal screamed as armor split apart. The ship shook so hard the crew nearly fell from their stations. "Shields at 2%. Ortiz shouted. "We can't take this." Rains gripped her chair, refusing to yield. "Keep firing." The battle turned into chaos. Fighters swarmed like insects, hurling plasma rounds into the Valkyrie's flanks. She spun, her point defense turrets blazing, cutting down wave after wave. But for every fighter destroyed, 10 more came. Cruisers circled, pouring fire into her sides. Hale targeted them with precision, ripping holes into their formations. Explosions lit the stars, each one a reminder of humanity's fury. Then came the dreadnought, its massive cannons charged, glowing brighter than a sun. The AI screamed warnings, but it was too late. A single beam tore across the Valkyrie's hull. Entire decks were ripped apart. A fireball engulfed the starboard side. The ship reeled, her engines flickering. Ortiz screamed over the alarms. "We've lost the starboard batteries. Hull breach on decks 8 through 12. Hale slammed his fists against the console. "We can't keep this up." But Rain's eyes blazed with defiance. "Yes, we can. We'll show them what it means to fight a human warship. Push power to the main cannon." The Valkyrie's AI hesitated. "Warning. Reactor at unstable levels. Firing may result in catastrophic failure." Rains didn't blink. "Do it." The reactor surged. Lights flickered. Energy poured into the ancient main cannon, a weapon built in humanity's final days of desperation. The cannon fired. A single beam, brighter than anything the aliens had ever seen, ripped across space and struck the dreadnought's hull. For a moment, the flagship's shields held. Then they collapsed. The beam tore through the ship, splitting it apart in a chain of explosions. The dreadnought shattered into fire. On the alien comms, panic erupted. Fleets broke formation, captains screaming in disbelief. The Valkyrie had killed their strongest ship with one strike. On the bridge, Hale let out a wild laugh. We just killed their flagship. But Ortiz's face was pale. Reactor is overloading. We can't do that again. Rains nodded, her voice calm despite the chaos. Then once was enough. The battle raged on. The Valkyrie fought like a beast cornered, striking down ship after ship. The galaxy's finest fleet struggled against a vessel that should not even exist. But the cost was heavy. Fires burned through the lower decks. Casualties mounted. The ship bled from 100 wounds. At last, the alien fleet began to retreat. What was meant to be an execution had become a slaughter, and not of the Valkyrie. They pulled back, leaving wreckage behind, unwilling to pay the price of victory. Silence returned to the void. The Valkyrie drifted among the ruins, her crew battered, her hull broken, but alive. Dr. Yura whispered, "We should be dead. But we're not." Rain stayed into the stars, her voice low but steady. They wanted to bury humanity. Instead, we reminded them of the truth. We don't die quietly. Not ever. The Ai's voice crackled with something almost like pride. The galaxy fears you again. Rains closed her eyes for a moment, then opened them, her gaze sharp. Good. Let them fear. Because this is only the beginning. The silence before battle was the loudest sound in the galaxy. For days, fleets had moved into place, weapons charged, and strategists whispered across encrypted channels. Yet now, as the shadow of war loomed, no one dared to fire the first shot. The Valkyrie drifted on the edge of the contested zone, its scarred hull gleaming with old battle marks. To the galaxy, it was a ghost, a myth come alive. To humanity, it was something more. It was proof that humans had not died quietly. The fear spreads. On the Von Dominion capital world, panic surged through crowded streets. Citizens asked the same question: how had the humans survived? Their leaders had sworn that Earth's flames had ended the human threat forever. Now a single ship challenged that lie. The Dominion Senate argued bitterly. Some wanted to erase the Valkyrie at once, before it inspired rebellion. Others whispered of negotiating, afraid the humans had hidden more ships. Fear ran deeper than logic, because every alien species remembered how dangerous humanity had been when alive. In the core trade union, merchants demanded their fleets stand down. War was bad for profit. But younger captains muttered about honor and strength, eager to test their ships against the ghost of humanity. The galaxy's balance was shifting, and the Valkyrie hadn't even fired yet. The crew's resolve. Inside the Valkyrie, the crew prepared. The corridors hummed with ancient power, patched systems glowing under careful hands. Commander Reyes stood before his people. The galaxy thinks we're already dead. They believe humanity ended in ashes. But here we stand. One ship, one crew, one chance to show the truth. No one spoke, but their eyes burned with the same fire. They were tired, scarred, and haunted by the past, but they were not broken. Captain Aria, the Valkyrie's commander, finally spoke. "We will not strike first, but if they bring war to us, we will answer." Her words carried through the ship like a promise. The spark. The first blow came not from the Valkyrie, but from the enemy. A squadron of Von warships, eager for glory, ignored orders and charged. Their sleek hulls cut through the void, engines blazing, weapons armed. The galaxy watched through hidden feeds, knowing this was a moment history would change. "Contact incoming," the Valkyrie's sensors officer reported. Multiple ships. Weapons hot. On the command deck, silence fell. Then Arya gave the order, "Raise shields. Do not fire until fired upon." The alien squadron broadcast a message. "This is the Von Dominion. The human vessel will surrender immediately or be destroyed." Reyes smirked. "They still think we fear them." The Valkyrie stayed silent. Then the first shot was fired. A Von plasma lance streaked across the void, slamming into the Valkyrie's shields. The ship trembled, but the shields held. Permission to return fire. Reyes asked, his voice sharp. Arya's eyes hardened. Permission granted. The ghost strikes back. The Valkyrie came alive with fury. Its old cannons, reforged with secret technology, lit up the darkness. Blue-white beams cut through the void, smashing into the Vaughn squadron. One enemy ship exploded instantly, torn apart by fire. The rest scrambled, but the Valkyrie was faster. It danced like a predator, weaving between plasma bolts, answering each attack with brutal precision. On alien worlds across the galaxy, people watched in stunned silence as the feed spread. The ghost ship was no myth. It was real, and it was deadly. The Vaughn squadron's captain screamed into the comms. It's impossible. That ship is over a century old. But the Valkyrie answered only with fire. In minutes, the squadron was shattered, wreckage floating, flames dying in the void. Only one Vaughn ship fled, its engines burning at maximum thrust. The Valkyrie did not chase. It did not need to. The message. After the battle, silence filled the galaxy again. But this time, it was not the silence of peace. It was the silence of Faye. Arya stood before the comms, knowing the galaxy was listening. She spoke in clear, steady words. You thought humanity was gone. You thought we had vanished into history. You were wrong. We are still here. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek revenge. But if you bring war to us, know this. Humanity does not die quietly. Her words echoed across thousands of worlds. Some cheered, inspired. Others trembled, remembering old wars. Leaders across the galaxy sat in silence, their plans crumbling. The Valkyrie had fired the first blow of a new age. The aftermath. On the Dominion capital, riots erupted. Citizens screamed that their leaders had lied. Soldiers questioned orders. Some swore to crush humanity once more. Others secretly admired the humans' defiance. In hidden corners of the galaxy, oppressed species whispered, if the humans can survive, maybe we can too. For the crew of the Valkyrie, the victory was only the beginning. Their ship was strong, but not invincible. The galaxy would come for them now, united or divided. Captain Arya looked out into the endless stars. She knew the next battle would be harder. But for the first time in a century, humanity's voice was heard again. And it was a voice the galaxy could not ignore. The destruction of the Vaughn squadron echoed across the galaxy like a thunderclap. For the first time in 100 years, the name humanity was spoken with fear and with hope. Every empire, every council, every hidden network of spies debated the same question. What should be done about the Valkyrie? The galaxy had expected a dying relic, a broken ship barely holding together. What they had seen instead was a predator from legend, alive and deadly. And now, no one could agree on what came next. The Dominion's rage. On the throne world of the Vaughn Dominion, the High Chancellor stood before his war council. His face was pale, but his voice burned with fury. One human ship destroyed an entire squadron. He spat. This cannot stand. If they are allowed to inspire rebellion, if other species think humanity can rise again, our Dominion collapses. The generals argued bitterly. Some demanded that every fleet be unleashed at once, to crush the Valkyrie before its legend spread further. Others hesitated. If one ship can do this, a general whispered, what if there are more? The chamber fell silent at the thought. Finally, the Chancellor gave the order. Summon the Dominion Armada. Every ship, every weapon. Humanity will burn again. The voices of doubt. But the galaxy was not united. On the trading worlds of the core union, merchants feared war more than ghosts. Their leaders spoke in quiet rooms. The Dominion wants blood. But war will ruin trade. We should open secret talks with the humans. If they are alone, we can profit. If they are many, we must not make them our enemy. Some nodded. Others warned against it. Deal with humans. Do you not remember what they were capable of? Yet the whisper of negotiation began to spread. Whispers of rebellion. Meanwhile, in the shadow zones of the galaxy, oppressed races listened to the Valkyrie's broadcast. On slave worlds, in secret bunkers, and in forgotten colonies, the message was repeated. humanity does not die quietly. To those who had lived under alien chains for generations, those words were more than defiance. They were hope. A rebel commander on the rim, watching the battle recording, clenched her fists. If humans can rise again, then so can we. Already, sparks of resistance began to glow. Inside the Valkyrie, while the galaxy raged, the Valkyrie prepared for what was coming. The crew knew they had only bought time. The Dominion would not forgive this insult. The ship's corridors echoed with the sound of work, engineers repairing scorched plating, gunners calibrating weapons, medics tending the wounded. Every crew member understood the truth. Their survival had inspired others, but it had also painted a target on their backs. Commander Reyes paced the command deck. "They'll send everything they have," he muttered. "Not just a squadron, armadas." Captain Arya nodded grimly. "Then we will not fight them alone." Her words made the crew look up. "We cannot win by firepower," she said. "But we can win by truth. We must show the galaxy that humanity still stands. We will seek allies, those who doubt, those who resist. If we fall alone, the story dies. If we rise together, the galaxy changes forever." The crew agreed. The Valkyrie was no longer just a ship. It was a beacon, the first response. The Dominion moved first. Armadas spread from their core worlds, massive fleets that blotted out stars. Their message was clear: surrender or face extinction. The galaxy trembled at the display of force. Many nations prepared to bend to the Dominion's will. But then, something unexpected happened. The Core Union refused to send ships. Publicly, they claimed neutrality. Privately, their merchants sent coded signals to the Valkyrie: "We are willing to talk." Even more shocking were the reports of rebellions breaking out on Dominion border worlds. Small at first, sabotage, riots, uprisings. But they were growing, and every rebel shouted the same word: humans. The Dominion tried to crush the fires, but the more they struck, the more the flames spread. A dangerous gamble. The Valkyrie's crew watched these events unfold from deep space, hidden among nebula clouds. "We've started something we can't control," Reyes said, studying the reports. "No," Arya replied. "We've reminded the galaxy of the truth. Now we must choose our next step carefully. If we strike recklessly, the Dominion unites the galaxy against us. But if we strike wisely, the galaxy may unite with us." It was a dangerous gamble, but there was no other path. The Valkyrie set its course for the border worlds, the places where rebellion was rising, where hope was fragile. Their plan was bold: to show themselves not just as warriors, but as protectors. To prove that humanity's return meant more than destruction. The galaxy holds its breath. As the Valkyrie moved through the stars, the galaxy watched in silence. The Dominion sharpened its blades. The Core Union weighed profit against survival. Rebels whispered in the dark. Everyone knew the next move would decide everything. Would the Valkyrie become a symbol of hope, or the spark of a new galactic war? The crew did not know, but they were ready to face it. Captain Arya stood on the command deck, eyes fixed on the stars ahead. "Let them come," she whispered. "Humanity is not finished." And the galaxy, divided and trembling, waited for the storm. The galaxy had reached its breaking point. On one side stood the Dominion Armada, a force so large it turned the stars black. Countless ships gathered to end humanity once and for all. On the other side was a single vessel, the Valkyrie, scarred, outnumbered, but unbroken. And in between were millions of eyes, across 1,000 worlds, watching to see if humanity would vanish forever or rise again. The Armada moves. The Dominion Chancellor stood on his warship, eyes blazing with rage. "No more whispers. No more rebellion. We will crush this ghost ship, and with it, the hope of every fool who dares dream of freedom." The Armada advanced, engines roaring across the void. Entire fleets moved as one, stretching farther than sight could reach. It was overwhelming, inevitable. Even the bravest alien captains watching the feed whispered the same thought: nothing can stand against this. The Valkyrie's choice. Inside the Valkyrie, the crew felt the pressure of history pressing down on them. Commander Reyes spoke the words everyone thought. One ship against an armada, we can't win. Captain Arya did not flinch. No, we can't win by firepower. But we can win by something greater. We are not here to destroy them. We are here to show the galaxy what humanity means. Her words steadied them. They were not fighting for survival alone. They were fighting for the story of humanity, for the truth that their kind had never truly vanished. The Valkyrie did not turn away. It set a direct course for the heart of the Armada. The first clash. The sky erupted with fire. Beams of plasma, storms of missiles, and waves of energy tore through the void. The Valkyrie weaved and struck, shields flashing, cannons answering with terrifying precision. Every hit it landed sent shock through the galaxy. Every enemy ship that fell to its guns became legend. But the Armada was endless. For every ship destroyed, 10 more came. The Valkyrie's hull shook, systems failing one by one. Shields down to 30%, shouted the crew. Forward cannons offline. The Valkyrie bled, but it did not stop. The broadcast. In the middle of the chaos, Captain Arya gave the order. Open the broadcast. Every channel. Every world. Let them see. The Valkyrie's comms lit up, and her voice spread across the stars. We are humanity. You believed us dead. You believed us broken. But here we stand. One ship. One voice. One truth. Freedom cannot be erased. Her words echoed through every world, through every rebel cell, through every fearful heart hiding under Dominion rule. And then, in a voice that shook even the Chancellor, she said, "You may destroy this ship, but you will never destroy humanity." The turning point. Across the galaxy, something changed. On border worlds, rebels rose in open revolt, inspired by the Valkyrie's defiance. Dominion garrisons were overwhelmed as slaves and workers fought back, shouting the human name. In the core union, merchants made their decision. Fleets that had once been silent suddenly appeared on the edge of battle, not to fight against humanity, but to shield trade routes and block Dominion reinforcements. And on neutral worlds, smaller empires began to stay. Some sent secret signals. Perhaps humanity was not the enemy. Perhaps they were the example. The Dominion Armada began to fracture, not from outside, but from within. Reports of ships refusing orders, of crews abandoning the fight, spread like wildfire. The legend of humanity was more dangerous than any weapon. The final stand. Still, the Valkyrie was breaking apart. Explosions ripped through its hull. Systems died. Alarms screamed. Reyes gripped his console. "She can't take much more, Captain." Arya's eyes never left the stars. "Then we give them everything." The Valkyrie charged into the heart of the Armada, guns blazing in a final storm of fire. Enemy ships scattered, shocked by the suicidal courage. The galaxy watched as the ghost ship defied the impossible, refusing to bow, refusing to surrender. Then, in one last act, the Valkyrie fired its entire arsenal at once, a blinding burst that tore open the Armada's center and carved a scar into history. The silence. When the light faded, the Valkyrie was gone. Nothing remained but wreckage and drifting flames. The Dominion Armada had survived, but it had not won. For in that single act of defiance, humanity had done what no empire could. They had lit a fire across the galaxy. Rebellions rose. Alliances shifted. The Dominion, once unshakable, now trembled under the weight of its own lies. And in every whisper, in every uprising, in every hidden corner of the galaxy, the same words were spoken. Humanity does not die quietly. The legacy. Years later, no one agreed on the details. Some swore the Valkyrie had been destroyed. Others claimed it still drifted in the void, waiting to return. But one truth remained. The ghost ship had changed everything. Humanity was no longer a memory. It was a legend, and legends never die.